Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. I'm Drew. I'll be your host tonight. Pretty much every night that I run these. Give me a second so I just share these real quick. And we'll get tonight's show underway. I do hope everyone's doing well. Definitely been some fun and interesting times. Tonight's Rambling of the Chaotic Mind. I'm going to keep it a little interesting. Going to be a little bit of rambling, of course. Like I said, I've got a lot of stuff that's been going through my mind. I think the description pretty much says it all in my own little way. Probably won't be that too long of a video because I have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Take my dad to the hospital. He's got surgery first thing in the morning. So most of my morning is going to be spent at the hospital. Which I'll open with that anyway because I think it was fun. Not funny. You know, the world we live in today. And here's how bad it can be. We know that we got the flu pandemic going on, so they say, but it is. And we got schools closing, we got people, hospitals making you wear masks when you go in. Basically they're telling people if you're sick, don't go to work. Well, funny how they say that, but my sister just started working like 2 weeks ago at this new factory, which, she's been hunting for a job for over 6 months now, 7 months. Finally gets one, conveniently, second weekend at work. She's sick. I mean, she went into work, but she was so sick she was about to pass out, dizzy. Basically, unsafe to be there. She shouldn't have been there in the first place. But she used Staff Mark. Staff Mart is a place that you can go, and you know how it works. Sure, they got different names for them. Used to be Manpower. There's so many different names for them, but they find you jobs. It's a joke. Everybody knows how that system works. Excuse me. They find you a job before you get hired in, or before you're ready to be able to get unemployment benefits or any type of benefits. They let you go, and they place you in a different spot. And the cycle keeps repeating. She had called them this morning, told them, she's sick. She thinks she got the flu. Well, they're like, well, you could lose your job. You need to go in. Doesn't look good. She didn't even make it 2 hours. Gets home. Lo and behold, staff Mark calls just to tell her, well, we can't have people just starting leave work because they're sick. I'm like, what? We'll just have to find you another job when you're feeling better, basically. It's these type of corporations that are a joke. These things that are supposed to help you find a job, all they help do is put you in a place long enough to collect the money, because, they're basically renting you out. This is how it works. They rent you out. They get paid, say you work, say $7 an hour for minimum wage. You get paid $7 an hour minimum wage. They get paid like you're making $18 an hour. That's how these companies work that do these job placements. So they get a contract, they get extra money. And what they did, they got in cahoots with playing the numbers game with the unemployment. So they put you in, you're hired, therefore you're no longer a statistic. And right before you're able to collect unemployment, they fire you. Or somebody else has filled up, they got somebody else to fill that position. You never can get into these places full time unless you really show you're a hard worker. And in most cases now they don't even do it because it's cheaper to, in a sense, pay that extra money to Staff Mart instead of paying you and giving you the benefits. Here in Northwest Ohio, anybody knows what a joke and somewhat how crooked these places are. But yet, nobody takes legislation. Nobody does anything. You speak out against it, and you just get ran off. But so many factories and even Walmart here where I live, they will only hire through Staff Mart. It's a joke. Somebody like me, Staff Mart won't even touch me. I filled out the resumes and applications to do the process through them at least 3 times a year. And there's always something, oh, you never filled it out, or we lost the information, or you're too qualified for any positions we have. It's like, what the hell? Mainly because when I work at a place, I work. Never really quit any place. Never been fired. No, I take that back. I've been fired once, and it was back in 96, 97, when I was going to college full time. Because, I was a high school dropout that got my GED and managed to score third highest in the pre-entry exams to get into that college I went to in Glen Oaks in Michigan. And so I missed out on some of the high school experience understanding what credit hours were, and I took like 21 credit hours. No biggie, right? What's credit hours? What's credit hours and a full-time job working third shift and you have 2 night classes and a Friday class that goes from 8 till 1, and classes every day of the week. Yeah, no sleep. That's what it was. Basically, I was falling asleep on the job, making over rate. I mean, the foreman couldn't believe it. In fact, the foreman basically made us QC ourselves one morning before our shift was over, because he watched me sleep the whole night trimming parts and tossing them in doing quality control and tossing them in the box, because I was just that tired. I wasn't sleeping. And that didn't get me fired. What got me fired was another machine they were running. They were running a new mold because it was plastic injection molding, and nobody could get this machine to work right. Everybody they put on it couldn't make right. Half the time the machine the plastic wouldn't eject into it right. So they put me on it, and that's what ended up costing me my job. But the foreman told me, it's like, I don't want to let you go, but you're going to college. He's like, you can't be working a full-time job getting no sleep. And I tell you what, after I got done with a little college stint there, he actually gave me a good resume when I applied to work at Fleetwood, getting back more to the construction area, even though I was making camping trailers. I mean, I was young at that time, but I got a good reference from that place that I was a good worker. And the only reason they put in there the only reason I was fired because I was a full-time college student and that I wasn't getting enough sleep. So, like I said, when you have good work ethics and you work and you show people, that's what you should be judged by. You shouldn't have a corporation that's playing by the numbers, dictating, oh, we don't want him to get hired in there full-time. We want to keep him and just rent him out to any factory, Walmart that will hire and just keep bouncing him around and not letting him get work there long enough to be able to actually collect unemployment, or so that you don't mess up the numbers game. We've gotten away from that in this day and age. I mean, back in the 90s, you lost your job, you go across the street, you're working the very next day. But I found it crazy that, you got all these doctors telling people, look, if you think you've got the flu, don't go to work. Don't go out. Yeah, they want to fire somebody because they're almost passing out and having dizzy spells and running 101 fever. That's a joke. That's not even a joke, honestly. That's just sad. It's kind of like that old saying goes, the more things change, they stay the same. I mean, you hear all the talk, we're bringing jobs back. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think Trump's holding up to his promises, but unfortunately these jobs ain't coming fast enough, and they're not going into the areas where they're needed. Just like the economics. We talk about the stock market's all high. It's growing, but our dollar's failing, falling. Let me tell you something about the stock market. What is a normal market? Because here's what I see. I see the stock market gaining, but nothing else is gaining. You go to the store, the prices are still the same. We get tax breaks, but we're still paying ridiculous amounts of prices. If our economy is doing so well, these prices should be coming down. You want to generate revenue and money, you lower the prices to where people, now that they got extra money, they're going to be buying more. They're buying more, they're paying taxes. More is going back. It's not happening that way. These corporations refuse to lower prices on stuff. So what happens? Eventually, what goes up will come down. Then they go, oh, it's a crash. Then they're going to raise prices. Welcome back. And they're just going to keep, then they're going to raise prices. So they can say, oh, it's inflation. Nothing's changed. I don't care that the stock market's at all times high. These corporations ain't lowering money. Gas prices are still ridiculous. That gallon of milk's still almost $5. You know, if our market's doing so great, why aren't the prices coming down? I mean, you want to make money. You want money to be going back in. More people to spend. You got to lower the prices on things. You got to put it back to where it should be. Then you make money. Everybody makes money. Everybody's happy. Now, you got more money to spend. You got more money to put up to take vacations. They don't want that. Why don't they want that? Now, it kind of goes back to what I said in the description. You know, and you guys might think this is funny. Our minds are such a beautiful thing when we sit back and quiet all the noise that we are bombarded with each and every day and night. So step out of the rabbit hole. You don't need to go down it like Alice, for you're living in it, and you are. We're living in the rabbit hole. The rabbit hole is nothing more than distractions, things we're bombarded with every day, every night. You say, well, I sleep, so I'm not bombarded then. Oh, wait, yes, you are. You know, I know some people don't like BP Earth Watch, but he did a couple interesting videos, and he's been following up on them using an EMF detector, electromagnetic field. You know, scientifically, high EMF, more than 2.5, can affect you, can cause you to hallucinate, it can cause so many things. Your phone turned off, power down, turned off, the roaming stuff turned off, you know, data, everything turned off, was still putting out over 30. The safe zone's 2.5. Now think about this, over 30 that you're getting bombarded with. That's not counting what your router's putting off. For those that don't understand EMF, it can cause you to hallucinate. It can cause many things. That's why people, when they're watching TV and stuff, or in front of their TVs and phones all the time, they pick up on these stories. So, yeah, I know, 45, 47, Wednesday, snowing today. Then Friday, Saturday, another snowstorm. Back in the 20s. It's like, the hell? We even got crazy weather. It's weird, Ohio. I'm used to that. Our winters can be crazy from time to time. But it's just not here in Ohio. It's kind of all over the place. Weather's just real crazy. And no, we're not going to get into the theories behind all that because there's a bunch. But it, like I said, right there, another point, another rabbit hole. These things are distractions. They're made that when you're getting bombarded with all of these electromagnetic fields, they're made to confuse you because you can get confused. It also allows you to dull your senses so you can be more programmed, in a sense, manipulated easier. So when you're watching whatever news program that you're watching, you can be easily influenced by it. And then when something funny, my dad pointed this out to me a couple weeks ago, but he gave me the wrong numerics on it. But there's a part of the immigration bill is dealing with biometrics, national IDs. Guys, here's the danger of thinking. It's going to be put in the immigration bill. This ID is going to be your ID for everything. You won't be able to work unless you have this biometric ID. You won't be able to get a job, use your bank, go to the hospital unless you have this ID. Well, I finally got the full numbers on it today. I was actually able to do some reading on it. And it's, wow. It goes far beyond Big Brother. It goes far beyond anything. We live in a day and age where, we do think we have some privacy, but in actuality, I've talked about this, we have no privacy. We gave all that up the day we turned our cell phone on, the day we plugged in our computer and hit accept. Anywhere we go. But now with these biometric IDs, right, when we know it's not about credit hours, just experiences. That was one hell of an experience, though, for, your freshman year doing 21 credit hours. It was one that I did not repeat again either. I think the minimum back then was 14, which I didn't know that then when I started. Once I learned that, I didn't repeat the same mistake the following year. The following semester. But these biometric things, here's some of the questions that you got to answer. What's your religion? What's your political views? They want to know every little thing so they can put it in this program. This is your identity. So what happens if you change your mind? What if you're like me? My religion's none of your business. It's no one's business except for me and the maker. My political views is really no one else's business but mine. And for those that don't know, obviously, I really don't believe in labels. It's another form of division. That's how they keep us dividing us. Same way with the religion card. They use that to divide us. We have a constitution that's very clear on that. Very, very clear. But yet, to others, only if it affects them does it mean anything, or if their views and opinions differ from somebody else's beliefs and views and opinions, then they want to say the Constitution they don't have the right to express themselves. Causes division, that mentality of thinking. That's why here's, hey Pam, nice to see you. That way of thinking is what keeps us in this trap we're in. We are living in the rabbit hole. We don't need to go down it. It's all about moves and counter moves. We talk about sanctuary cities. We talk about immigration. Immigration, we have a huge problem. It needs fixed. The right way. It doesn't need a biometrics national ID put into it. And that's where people are going to see, it's national security. That'll help protect us from voter fraud. That's how they're going to spin it. Watch. You're going to have all your information, your politics, your religion, and whatever else they ask, make you put down. How you search, which I think is funny. How do I search things? What do I search? Let me tell you what, Google can't even figure out what ads to throw at me. Why? Because I'm not predictable. I watch everything and anything. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what label they claim. Doesn't matter what religion they believe in. If it's something I'm drawn to, I'm going to watch it. Or I'm going to read it. Or if someday I might like this show, Ramblings of the Chaotic Mind. This is how my mind works. I'm thinking over 1,000 things at once, and out of the blue, I might just type in something. It's like, might not even know why I typed it in. See what pops up. Anybody that follows me on Twitter or Facebook, you've seen my music selections from time to time. It goes from classical to death metal and everything in between. Same way with the videos I watch. It's good. It breaks up the cycle. They don't know how to predict. They don't know how to read you. Sound is cutting out. I wonder if it's the headphones. It might be my voice. Too, my throat's a little scratchy. Draw back to Ohio weather. 3 days of 40s, 50s, 28 degrees, and snow today. And it gets warm out, and I want to be outside. I've got tons of projects I'm trying to get off the ground and get going, but any weather's got to cooperate a bit, so some of it might be my voice. But this whole biometric national ID thing, I mean, it's going to sound good. I thought you were. And some of it might be I just have my speakers up too loud. That's how they're going to spin it. They're going to say, national security, this will help protect from voter fraud. And no, we don't want a system like that. We don't want a system because here's what happens. Once all that happens, you will not be able to go anywhere. Any camera, any cell phone that catches you, sees you, they'll know right where you are. This is beyond Big Brother. This is what everybody told you about. People thought they were joking, or they were conspiracy theories, or nuts. They weren't nuts. In my research, from the screwed up numbers my dad gave me 2 weeks ago, when I first looked into it, I come to find out biometrics. They put it in bill to research the feasibility of biometrics in 1993. This is how long they've been planning this. Remember, I did a video, moves and counter moves. That's what this is. Everything's a move and counter moves. Right. They will, because they'll think it's going to fix the voting problems. No, it's not going to fix the voting problems. It's not going to stop illegals. Because you got sanctuary cities like California issuing people IDs. Well, they got a driver's license now, so therefore they're going to have biometrics. And some of you might say, oh, this ain't going to happen. Arizona is running this program right now. North Carolina just passed it, get ready to pass it in law. $20, you don't have to renew your driver's license for 10 years. That will be the new law. I'm not sure what it takes. It's going to take an effect. I think my friend said in the summer this year it'll take effect. People are going to jump on that because, oh, crap, I don't have to renew my driver's license for 10 years. But look at all the information you're giving them. Look at the fact you're not going to be able to go anywhere in the United States. Wherever there's a camera, where there's a microphone that picks up your voice, wherever a tourist taking pictures, or a cell phone that can be accessed, they will know where you are 24/7. That type of freedom you guys want? Because remember, by them sliding it in the immigration bill, which people want, even I want it, even people that went through that process and came here legal and did it the legal way, they will tell you our immigration process needs fixed. When do you sacrifice national security? When does national security cost you your freedom? Like I said, you don't need to go down the rabbit hole. You're living in the rabbit hole. These politicians do this all the time, both sides. Yeah, I won't even be in line for it. At some point, each and every one of you's got to learn to draw the line. Yes. Just like me when I play World of Warcraft. When I go from here to my friend's house in North Carolina, I lived down there for close to 3 years, almost 3 years. But I tend to have a tendency to go down there every summer. And I go to plug my computer in. Everything that I'm logged into, I have to redo permissions, because my IP address has changed. I'm in a location that they don't recognize. Even with my phone, it does the same thing. But yet, that's another, I bring up gaming, because that's another way they draw young people in. The gaming industry is huge. It's also the perfect beta test for society. Can we use this and get them addicted to it? Because they're not going to want to give it up. I know some WoW players will never give up playing WoW. I know some WoW players that cost them their marriage because they won't give it up. I don't got nothing against WoW. It's like I don't have nothing against technology. It's when it's in the wrong hands, used to manipulate you, control you, track you. Yeah, pay with cash, in and out quick. Well, here's one for you. I'm sure most of you have probably gotten new credit cards by now, or new debit cards, or even the ones that you prepay on now have it, the little internet symbol on the card. Well, the Walmart here in Ohio, where I live, on the northwestern side, they've already started installing the stuff, the computers and stuff in their store, including right on the cart. So when you pick an item off the shelf and put it in your cart, it checks. There's a little scanner on the cart now that it picks up the barcode and deducts it from your credit card. If you put it back, it retakes it off. You don't even have to walk through the checkout anymore. Then they're setting their checkouts for the same thing, so you don't have to. Your card's in your wallet. You just walk by. Well, guess what? Here soon, you're not even going to need your credit card. All that information will be what? Oh, and your biometric national ID. That's why, I don't know if anybody watches the White House press conference. Honestly, it's comic relief. If you want comedy, just go watch it. You get a good laugh every day. Yes, Pam, really. In fact, tomorrow after my dad gets out of surgery, I'll make a trip to Walmart. Yeah, but it's not going to be called Bitcoin. It's not going to be called any other cryptocurrency that's out there, although it might be. I've got some theories on the Bitcoin. I mean, we can date the very emblem they used for Bitcoin clear back to the 60s. I think it showed up in 63. It's actually on a picture of on a coin for something. I'll have to find it and show you guys again. It's been a long time since I've come across it. But yes, this concept, like I said, moves and counter moves. They're planning these things out years in advance. And we talk about we're going down the rabbit hole. You're living in the rabbit hole. You get bombarded with so much stuff, so much information. And most people say, well, there's nothing wrong with information. Yes. Like most things, in moderation, no. But overindulgence, sensory overload. It should be a basic knee surgery. He's having his knee replaced, but he's also diabetic, and we all know how that goes. About a year and a half ago, he had the other one done, so he was pretty much, well, back on his feet within a month. And that's another thing. Like I said, about a year and a half ago, he had his other knee done. Now, Medicaid, Medicaid, I think, since he's up there, 60-something. Yeah, I know, but I don't know my dad's own age. I think he's 65. My mom just turned 66. Or that's the case. My dad's 64, will be 65 in June. See, at least I know when their birthdays are, right? But I can tell you how long they've been married. I'm 40. They've been married 40 years. Exactly. What is digital? Make-believe. It has no, it's what they call intellectual property. It has, truthfully, no monetary value. Yeah, I'm my own matrix. Yep. And actually, everybody kind of is. If they really sit back and think about it and actually start learning to use more of their mind. That's why I said the mind is a beautiful thing. We only use 4 to 5% of our brain. The rest just sits up there. They say, like Einstein, super geniuses use 8% to 10%. Imagine if you learned to use more than just that. Imagine if you could quiet your mind. This is what Rambling for the Chaotic Mind is really about. Quieting your mind. Don't think on things. Just let things come. Let the mind flow freely. Not focusing on anything, not just letting random things come to you. That's why sometimes Ramblings of the Chaotic Mind sounds like it's rambling, jumping from topic to topic. But in the grand scheme of things, you actually sit back and listen to them. It's actually quite the opposite. You'll find that I tie things in. Even when I'm talking about other things, you'll find that they tie back in. Exactly. That's why they don't want free thinkers. We are free to plant seeds in the mind. I like that one. That's a better name. I think we are using more of our brain questioning what we are told. That is true. Free thinkers question everything. They don't believe what somebody tells them. That's why I tell you almost every video, these are my opinions and views. These are from my own experiences, the way I've lived my life and experienced things. But yet, don't take everything I say at face value. Question, research, Find your own way of thinking. Free yourself. The way I did it might not be the way you do it. It's just like all these preppers. We talk about the do gear reviews, and I have nothing against them. I love what they do. But here's the thing. This right here, Tractor Supply, $7, has lasted me now, going on 4 years. That I'm doing most anything any other prepper does with this type of knife. Batoning, cutting, using, abusing. It's about how well you take care of things, and knowing its limits. And that's what I give these guys credit. They show you the limits of some of these things. But for me, that 50, 60, because believe me, sitting up here on the counter, I have a $75 Canto limited edition survival knife that is garbage. It's actually worth less than what I paid for that $7 one, in my opinion. Price does not matter. One, big, bulky. Mainly I bought it to save the shopkeep, because every time he picked it up, he cut himself. He had scars all up and down his fingers for just picking it up out of the display case. I felt bad for him. Yes, I thought it looked cool too. But, now to somebody else, that might be a perfect knife. It just, everybody's different. I have a certain way that I like my knives and my weapons, my guns, my bows, my crossbows. They're down to my pocket knives and the clothes I wear. It's what's comfortable for me, what feels right in my hand. Because the truth is, that knife is just nothing more than an extension of my hand. Yes, so for those that understand that, you might know a little bit about my background, a little bit about my other backgrounds that I have. Now, truthfully, I prefer up close and personal over a gun. But the gun has its purpose. It has its purpose. It's a tool. And then I know what types of guns that I like. I don't like big, bulky things. I don't like heavy things. I like things that feel comfortable, that feel natural. And everybody's different. So yes, all these gear reviews and stuff, it goes the same way with tech. All this stuff's great. But everybody has a different level. Everybody has a different taste in things. I mean, I know how to take most of this junk that's laying around here, and it's not junk. I can make something out of it, build something out of it, refurbish it into something else. I have those skill sets. I took time to train myself. I can go out there, work on my truck, take the engine out, strip it all the way down to the block, put it back together, and it'll run fine. Yes, they're all tools. My hand's more dangerous by the law here in Ohio than that knife or that gun. Same way with my legs. Figure that one out. Although I'd probably argue that one now, day and age, because I haven't been on the mat in a while. But it's much like riding a bike. My muscles and memories all still there. It's just a matter of recalling it. Granted, after having to do something, I'm going to feel it later because why? Maybe I got a little lazy in the years. Just like riding a bike. You never forget. You just store it until you need to recall it. That's the things they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know you can be the great mechanic, great at doing computer web graphics or whatever you guys do, and at the same time you can be a professional cook gourmet meals and stuff. For me, this will throw you for a loop. You know what my favorite meditation is? Cooking or baking. It's just something new, something different. Your mind's not focused on all the parts and pieces. Maybe that's the creative side, the artistic side of me. I don't know. It's just me. And we are free. Just said it right. Be yourself. If I learned anything in the 40 years of my life, who cares what people think? The only thing that should matter is what you think of yourself. You want to know the true power? Have power? Believing in yourself and not letting others tell you what you are, who you are, what you can be, can't be. Yes, yeah, growing is fun. It's one of my projects for this to have done by the spring is put my little portable sawmill that I homemade to use and build a greenhouse. Now that I've got all the wood ready to do it, we live in a day and age where we have to be defined by a label. Because you're this. And that label is which is the only thing you can be. When in fact it's completely the opposite. I haven't decided yet. There's definitely going to be more stuff that I can. I know potatoes is top of my list. Here's something while we're on the growing subject. For all you smokers out there, and I'm talking about the tobacco kind, have you ever thought about growing your own tobacco? Granted, you're still going to have to buy tobacco until you can harvest, but try growing some of your own tobacco. You're going to find, once you dry it out, do the process, there's tons of YouTube videos out there on how to do it, where you can be I see that, where you can still be self-reliant. I'm going to tell you what. This is why, for the most part, I've switched over smoking tobacco pipe again. When you smoke real tobacco, you will instantly tell the difference. And you'll instantly realize how much preservatives and stuff actually put into the stuff you buy from the stores. There is a complete difference. It actually tastes fresh, natural, clean. Not that I'm promoting smoking, guys. Still a bad habit. Yeah, this year it's going to be on the same lines. A lot of green peppers, tomatoes, potatoes, stuff that we can can up. Just also I'm going to be doing a lot of fishing this year. This time I'm going to go back from, normally we just fish for sport. But I'm going to actually do some real fishing so we can freeze them up. Well, you'd have control over that because you're the ones going to be treating your own tobacco plants. I mean, there is certain stuff that you can use. There's natural stuff that you can use where it's not pesticide, and it's just using natural stuff that does not contaminate or nothing. It's actually healthy for you. When I get ready to do it this spring, I'll do up the recipe and share with just the natural stuff that you can use even on your gardens. I know a lot of people say, well, you're supposed to, you haven't done hardly nothing with the prepping stuff. Well, I just haven't had time. And there's other things. Other things that I've been wanting to talk about as well. During the winter months, there's really going to be not much prepping stuff going on. There's going to be more discussions like this. Even if there's a summer, I'm still going to have these topics. Because they are very important. We need people to start thinking for themselves, not confining to a label. You can find a label, you might as well get in line for one of those biometric IDs. Then when you choose to change the person that you vote for, and they tell you you can't, because this is your political background, or when you no longer believe in that religion, and you found something else, like I said, we're always evolving, changing. Once you start questioning things, I mean questioning everything, you're going to start seeing the world differently. You're going to see that labels mean nothing. All labels are meant to control, meant to keep us divided. All these issues we hear our congressmen talking about, it's just moves and counter moves, set to divide us, keep us divided. All these Hollywood celebrities. And here's my issue with them. We had Jennifer Lawrence come here to Cleveland, talk to our school children about issues that most of the people in that area aren't on anyway. But they did an announcement. She just showed up, and most parents didn't know she was going to be there because they probably wouldn't let their kids go to school that day. Or they would have said, no, we don't want them to hear that. Here's my message to them. How about, since you live in Hollywood, how about putting some attention to those tent cities that are everywhere, growing by the day? Focus on real issues, real people, United Americans. Yes, you're learning new skills, new trades. I do a lot of do-it-yourself stuff because I'm always doing something. There's always something here that needs fixed, or, those that seen some of the welding projects last year. And I'll be the first to tell you there's going to be some woodworking projects coming. Some of it's going to be, and some blacksmithing stuff. And there's still going to be talks like I'm doing now, because this is very much a part of who I am, the things I do. Most people will say, well, you're just talking on a YouTube channel. No, I'm also out in the community, striking up conversations at Walmart, the Dollar Day, the grocery store. Finding like-minded individuals, expressing the need for people to start finding people in their community to represent them. Those are important things. I'm not going to sit here and bash other YouTubers. I'm not going to sit here and get caught up in their drama. But I do know one thing. Name calling, telling people to rise up. There's a right way to do things, and there's a time and place. When you start going down that road, you're no better than what you're fighting against, because you're sowing more division. We're too divided to do anything right now. If you ask anybody that's ever served in the military, they will tell you that we got to mend some of this division. We got to find common ground, common things we can rally around. We don't need to be provoking or using fear tactics to inspire people to get off their you know what, and do something. You need to find a way to communicate. And yes, there's an argument, there is, and it's a sound one, that some people don't get it. Well, guess what? Those aren't the people you're looking for. You're looking for the people that will listen, that will start questioning things. Sometimes our job is just to plant the seed. Let them think things. I mean, I actually fully agree with you on that one. That is the number one cause of division. But nobody can put that aside and actually have a conversation with somebody of a different belief. Because if they could and they do it, they would find out the very same things happening with that belief system and the other belief systems. You know, maybe later this week I'll do a video on what first woke me up. When I first really became awake to things. And it'll be shocking for a lot of people, especially those that know me. Because that is one of the main things that we'll fight over till we're blue in the face, until we're having a holy war. Who's right and who's wrong? Yours is wrong. All that is dogma. Because you actually read the text, the sacred text, no matter what it is. There's a couple out there that actually does preach that, and you know what that is. That's not what is depicted in almost every religious text out there. Almost every religious text, except for a couple, preach love. Tells you not to live in fear. Have faith. Having faith in something is better than nothing. But don't let the dogma control you. Listen to yourself. Listen to what you read and interpret, not what somebody tells you to interpret it as. It goes back to question everything. Everybody's different. Everybody's going to catch on to things that they thought they knew, and it's like, oh, how did I miss that? I never seen that before. Or, wait, but he said it. I mean, guys, you got to do these things on your own. You got to learn how to step out of the mold. Get yourself out of that rabbit hole they put us in. You don't need to go down it. You're living in it. Step out. Quiet your mind. Get yourself away from all the distractions, whether it's for an hour, half hour, 15 minutes. Get away from the electronics. Go outside. Get some exercise. Go for a walk. Go for a bike ride. I mean, now, unless you own older models of cars, you can't even get away from the Wi-Fi in your cars. Got them now. You're missing out on so much. You know, we live in a day and age where it's all about money. You need money to survive. I don't care how much money you could have. You could be the richest man in the world, and you still will not be wealthy. Why? Because there's just some things money cannot buy. And, you know, it takes some hard lessons in life sometimes to learn that. Let me tell you what money, well, some people say money can buy you love. Money cannot buy you true love. Money cannot buy you your freedom of mind, your freedoms. Anybody that says it can, they're living in an illusion. You know, anybody says, oh, we're not divided. Take a look in the mirror. Or for some of you, go back and watch some of the videos you've done and what you've actually said. Are truth converting? You know, it needs to wake up. It needs to get back focusing on waking people up. Not following what everybody else is talking about, stepping outside the box and bringing up new issues. I don't want to hear about chemtrails. You want to know why? It's not a new concept. Not at all. We've been playing with weather way before technology. It used to be called cloud seeding back in the early 1900s. And there's been other forms of it, but hey, that's a whole other topic for another show and not on this channel. You guys get caught up in these games. Are they doing it? Yeah, I mean, it's clear, obvious, but that's not the issue. And, you know, everybody talks about global warming. What? All you gotta do is actually study history, study core samples, tree rings, and stuff like that. It's a repeating cycle. It just takes thousands and thousands of years before it goes back into that cycle. Everything you're seeing has happened before. It will happen again, and there's nothing new under the sun. And what you said is something I am going to talk about. I might just talk about it now. We are free. Free made a good point. There's some crazy saying Trump is reincarnated as some savior type. And knowing that's going on to some point is false to me. Let's all remember, for all the AJ cronies out there, it's almost a cult. I'm using the word cult. Yes, I'm using that word. Because he's got a lot of people that follow and hang in every word. Let's play some, and I've talked about this before. There's some of my earlier videos on this channel. In fact, I think it was on one of the earlier Ramblings of the Chaotic Minds. Alex Jones first portrayed Trump, and we still see some of the images floating around as what? George Washington. Trump was appealing to the older generation. Why? I'm going to tell you why. One, didn't help with the George Washington thing. But here's what's psychologically ingrained in the older generation's mind when you see Trump. You see Trump, JFK, John Wayne, Reagan. Look at them. Put George Washington up there as well. Look at them. In fact, find pictures of them. If they're not black and white, turn them black and white. Look at the resemblance. Look at how much you can see images of the other ones in the one person. And no, that does not mean reincarnation. But it does play a psychological game. you see that this generation witnessed JFK. My generation kind of grew up with Reagan before Bush took over, and then Clinton, and then, the rest of the history. Read my lips. But, I was little too young to really remember some of the things with Reagan. Most prominent things with Reagan was Gorbachev tearing down that wall. I was in school. I seen that. I watched it in the Iraq wars. That was my little, when I was, more paying attention to things like that, because it was more in my face at the time in school. But everybody found something they could relate. They seen this little image. Make America Great Again. When you see that, you think of the legendary John Wayne, what he believed in, America. And for many of these generations that came from overseas, from Russia and stuff, they see Trump, and the first thing that come to mind is John Wayne. Because that generation, seeing all those videos, that's what they believed America was about. To make America great again wasn't a new concept. It was reinvented, recharged. Every movement can be dangerous when it's used in the wrong hands. To make America great is great, except for when we start coming to issues with immigration and sliding a biometric national ID. And because everybody's going to say, oh, it's going to stop voter fraud. It's going to make America great again. No, it's not. It's going to take your freedoms away. There's a fine line where we got to draw it and not get caught up into the moves and counter moves of things. Because they'll play on that emotion. They'll play on you wanting to make America great, because we all do. We want our country to be great. We want every citizen, U.S. citizen, to be treated equal, to grow, prosper. We all want that. Quit falling into the labels game and get baited into something. If you can't question things, they're just going to keep slipping things like this into bills. They're going to get you caught up in debates over government shutdown, the memo. They're all distractions to keep you caught in while other things are playing out. We make a big deal about DACA and immigration for government shutdown. Certain things come about. Government's back in business. Which, here's the thing. Okay, let's say that memo has some really damning evidence in it. Want to know what's going to happen? Well, while Congress is in session, if there's any congressman implemented in it, or any government official implemented in it, nothing. Can't arrest a congressman or a government official while in duty of office. Wonder why the government didn't stay shut down after a threat of the memo? It's all moves and counter moves. And the real truth is, they don't care about you. Even the ones that say they do. At some point, somewhere, they're pushing issues. Right. It shut down for how many days? You know what? I didn't see a difference. Everything ran smoothly. I've actually last video I did, I actually pointed out some of the good things that came about in the last one. The problem is we have too much government. They want all these millions of dollars for spending. Yes, I understand it takes money to run the government. Okay, let's get rid of some of these agencies that are just names and just sit there collecting money that don't do nothing for us. That doesn't do nothing for our government. Shut them down. We don't need that stuff. Government's gotten way too big. It needs to be brought down. Yes, but shutdowns just push fear. Fear that, oh, people are going to lose their jobs. I mean, does it affect people? Yes. It affects, you know, what is that? The chip program. So there was something seriously that was affected by it. Our military can be affected, but come to find out, I actually went and watched a few military people that spoke out about that. Uh, One-Step Survival. He's an ex-Marine. He talked about it. The last government shutdown, he still got paid because, but not everybody did. I know some people that didn't. But some people, the bank still paid them. It was like an IOU that when they finally, the government got back open, those monies that went back, but they're still getting their money. See, they used the things, they pushed the fear. And some of it was some of it was justified because I do know people that worked at other branches of military that did not get paid because maybe they didn't have a bank that would do that. But it goes back to also the fact that what I stated earlier, stock market's up. Whoop-dee, who cares? Why? Because I'm still paying the same damn price to get $5, over $5 for that gallon of milk. The price of milk hasn't went down. The price of my food hasn't went down. The price going to a restaurant hasn't went down. It's actually went up some more. If our markets are doing so great, why aren't the prices coming down? Ever stop to ask that question? So therefore, what the market does has no effect on us, everyday, hardworking people. And I don't mean to be mean about that. I'm glad that it's showing to the rich, not us. Unless you got stocks. But do remember, what goes up will come down. Then they're going to say it's a crash. How is it a crash? Okay, we set records. But eventually, there has to be a baseline. Well, so what's the baseline? Yeah, I ain't going to be on much longer. Like I said, I got to be up at 4 in the morning. So, you be safe out there. We are free. You know, 10 years ago, $800 gains would have been normal. If it dropped 400 points, there's 400. I mean, the bar keeps going higher and higher, but there's no baseline. Nobody says where the baseline is. But when it drops 200, 100, everybody makes a big deal. It's inflation, it's this. Wake up, guys. It's corporations trying to control you, manipulate you, making you think. They're not the ones out there working. They're not the ones that going building things, raising the farm animals, raising the price of grain. But wait, they have a big impact on that when they go up on prices and they want to raise prices, saying it's inflation, we're in a recession, and they start raising prices on grain, on the meat you buy in the stores. Then when we start climbing again, we get out of that so-called recession. The prices stay the same. They never go back down. You want to work on budget? How about fixing that type of budget? Don't tell me the stock market's doing great. Because the prices ain't going down. See, we get caught up in the game. We get caught up in what they say, and we hang on for every word of it. It's great the stock market's doing good. It's great businesses are coming back. There's been some great things happen. Hopefully this NAFTA thing will be fixed once and for all. That's going to really help make things great and bring more jobs back and keep them from going overseas. NAFTA was the one thing that screwed every last one of us. And it's taken how many years to finally get somebody in there that's going to fix it? Well, hopefully fix it. But we don't want to get caught up in these repetitive cycles either. This is why it's so important. If we want to make America great again, you start off by questioning everything. Standing up for the things you know aren't right. Mr. President, why is stocks going up? Doing so good, but we're paying the same prices for food. They haven't went down. Why is the gas prices almost skyrocketing again? Because we're doing so great economically. Why? And here's a simple answer to this, guys. There's no regulations on these corporate businesses, just like there's no regulations on pharma. Big pharma, no, none. They can do whatever they want. You can't even sue them. And in some cases where you can, guess what? It's done through the Department of Justice. You have no right to an attorney. Well, you might have a right to an attorney. You got to pay for it. You have no right to motion of evidence, motion of discovery. You have no right to subpoena anything. You have to pay your own scientists and bring your own documentations that you have to pay for. You have no judge. It's not heard by a judge. Where's the justice in that? You know, that's what kills me. People stand on every word Rand Paul says. Rand Paul is talking about the judicial system, about the Fourth Amendment rights. He's in Congress. He knows damn well that when it comes to big pharma, when it comes to you trying to sue for wrongful death or for your child getting becoming autistic, that there is no justice system, even though it's called justice. It's in the Justice Department where it's held. And it's supposedly courtroom. It's not even a kangaroo court. But he won't talk about that. Quit buying into these career politicians. They tell you exactly what they want you to hear, that they know you want to hear. That whole little pharma being exempt from any legal action and going in front of a court that has no judge, where you can't even subpoena evidence, is not a justice system. It's not even in any common sense called a courtroom. You guys got to start questioning these things, waking up to these things. You got to start thinking, not taking what these guys tell you at face value. And I'm like a lot of you. I like to believe there's still some good politicians. And yeah, part of me, I like a lot of things that Rand Paul says, Ron Paul says. But in the end, they don't take a stance on the real issues. They tell you what you want to hear, or they think you want to hear. Or they want to slide legislation into an immigration bill. That's going to sound all great to most people. It's going to make America great again. And in fact, it's stripping you of every right, freedom you have. And they keep doing it. Like I said, it's moves and counter moves. It's just what they let you to see is usually used to distract you or divide you. That's why right now I try to enforce this to people. You know, we want change. First thing we got to do is start healing the division, finding common ground with people. Stop calling people out because they don't see it. And there's going to be some people out there that's never going to see it. Don't get mad at them. Because what you start doing, you start causing a new rift and adding to the division, which makes you no better than the rest of them. Before we can do anything, we got to have more numbers. Before we can change anything, we got to have more numbers. That's why they keep trying to divide us. That's why they keep putting stuff in our face. That's why today they talked about the new 5G plan and one secure network for 5G. Think about that. Granted, it's on the drawing board. They say it's on the drawing board. One secure network. But in the immigration bill, we have biometric, national ID. They're going to need a secure network. Who's going to run that network? Who's going to have access to all that information, everything about you? Who could just, with one click of a button, erase your identity? Because without that, the way that is worded, without that national ID, you can't work. You can't even access your bank. You can't even go to the hospital. You pissed the wrong guy off, the wrong woman off, and all they got to do is one click of the button and you disappear. That's not making America great again. Biometric national IDs? Bad. You know, just like a lot of people kind of think this is crazy. They don't do, yes, they do it all the time. I don't care who you think it is. You know, I like to believe that Trump is definitely making a change. If not, he's causing enough chaos that's letting people show themselves for the true colors, and he's done things that's actually working. That eventually is going to make this country great again. Anybody watch that press conference and caught what Sarah Huckabee said today? When it comes to a certain issue about State of the Union, well, he's going to kind of leave that to a surprise. You know, this is going to be his first State of the Union, and he'll have 7 more. We'll have 7 more years to keep implementing and making America great again. She just slipped that right in there, and all the reporters didn't even jump on it. Which we know. I mean, there's theories out there. And yeah, he's on track for another 4 years after this one. So yeah, I'm for it as long as he keeps doing what he's doing. But I tell you what, I'm not a brainwashed sheep. When he does something that I don't agree with, or when he signs something into law that I don't agree with, I'm going to voice my opinion. When it goes against our Constitution, when it starts taking your freedoms and rights away, I'm going to voice my opinion. I'm going to voice my views. I'm going to point them out. Because as an American citizen, as a voting citizen, that is your due diligence to keep them honest. We're supposed to be their checks and balances. We're supposed to be able to not keep voting the same people in. But yet we do, which makes you wonder. I mean, I have my own theories on that one. I honestly think this was, for the most part, the first election because why? He made a big deal out of voter fraud and rigging elections that it was almost impossible to pull off. And it was the first time that every American citizen was heard, finally. Of course, I also have other theories to that, too, which is something we should question. And when you start questioning those things, it leads to other things. Then you could see a bigger picture. And you start seeing how some of these pieces have fallen in place. As you research, you'll start finding how some of this stuff was implemented 90s, 80s, 60s, early 2000s. And how it just takes time, you know? the best thing we can do for ourselves to make this nation great again is start educating people. Start talking about real issues, everyday issues, the things we want to change. It starts right there in your home, in your community, finding people that share the same values, the same wants, what they want America to be. Just like this whole race card, identity card, it's just a label that they keep using to divide us. I thought it was funny. They talked about unemployment rates, which we know that's a joke. The numbers on the unemployment rate is always a joke. But they have went down. But then again, I could show you how that works. And early in my video, I told you kind of how that works. If you get fired before you can work there long enough to collect unemployment, guess what? You're treated as you were employed, but you don't get the benefits, and you don't get marked down as an unemployed person. Or, after so long on unemployment, most people gave up. We all know how those numbers are fixed. But the fact is, there has been jobs come back here. I mean, not particularly my area of neck of the woods, but hey. I'm seeing more road construction being done and stuff like that. So there is things slowly. It's a slow, gradual process. But they tried to use that today because he made a mention about the black community and how their unemployment rates have dropped, which, it has. But they wanted to try to make it about race. Every unemployment issue the numbers have went down, all of them, no matter what color you are. Not about color, it's about we are an American. We're not black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Thai, and all the other various races out there. We're Americans. Yes, we are those things. But we are an American. We should never be divided by race, gender, identity. We have one common thing we can always rally across when somebody tries to push those issues. We're American. That don't work anymore. Your little race game, identity game, IQ game doesn't work. Why? Because I'm an American. I live in America. And America's great. Yes, we have some blemishes. Not to repeat those blemishes. We strive to constantly build upon this nation and make it great. Better than what our forefathers left it. We should never be arguing about those things. But they catch us up in those things. They use those things to divide you. Pit you against family members. They put Common Core in the school system so they take those blemishes out of the history. So now, our kids don't know that history, so they're easily manipulated when they hear somebody talk this way. And they get them to conform to a label that they have no reason to suspect because they don't know the history. So they think what they're telling them is truth when it's fabricated. Then we have Hollywood stars like Jennifer Lawrence going to Cleveland schools, pushing those same ideologies to our children. You don't need to go down the rabbit hole. You're living in it. You need to step out of the rabbit hole. we get caught up with the concept of red pill. Well, I did a video on that. What is the red pill? Is it not the apple of the Garden of Eden and other things? Is it not the rabbit hole? Alice in Wonderland going down the rabbit hole? And various other things. I mean, history is important. We're seeing history repeat itself. We're seeing our republic, our democracy being so corrupt now that if you go back in history to Rome, you'll see the very same thing happen to the Senate, to the senators. You know, people want to use slavery as an issue. Look how many slaves were in Rome, and they weren't all black. A lot of them were white, German, and various of all nations that they've conquered and held underfoot. Rome was a great empire, and it fell, like many after it, and many before it. There's remnants of history from all these things. We can see this. It all has a tendency to result to one thing: corrupt people getting in control, trying to control the masses. Keep you underfoot, treating you like second-class citizens. Which is funny, because they try to treat illegals as first-class citizens. They're putting them over the American people that are here legally. Funny thing, on Judge Report, you can look it up. Judge made a ruling that illegals has constitutional rights to be able to go say goodbye to their loved ones that are being deported, to their families that are being deported. Wait. Yeah, I had to take a couple double takes on this one. Illegal immigrants are protected by the Constitution and have a right to see their families die as they're being deported. A judge ruled on this. That judge needs to be removed from his bench for violating our constitutional rights. An illegal does not have no rights, constitutional rights. Why? Because the illegal came here illegally and violated our Constitution and violated our laws. One could look at it, the positive side of that, though. And I'm joking here, guys, but there is a positive side to this, if you think about it. And if you want to be a little sadistic, which I wouldn't even call it sadistic, go say goodbye. That way the ICE agents can arrest your asses and deport you with your family. You can say goodbye across the border. Because you violated our law. You committed a crime by coming here illegally. So yes, go say goodbye. Just makes it easier for us to round you up. But that's not the solution, because if it's not challenged, sanctuary cities will use that ruling and say that every illegal has constitutional rights, no matter what it is. Why? Just because of that one wording, how that judge worded it. Illegals have a constitutional right. They do not. They committed a crime. Therefore, they cannot even become a citizen the way our immigration laws are written up. And it will see its day in federal court. And it'll be in the Supreme Court, and it's going to get smacked down. Was it better? Because that violates our Constitution. I mean, there could be a pro there, but because, okay, they have the right. So you just bring them in one location, but it doesn't make two wrongs don't make a right, and two rights don't make a wrong. Our Constitution is very black and white. When it comes to those matters, there's a right way to come to this country. And there's many people, many, that went through the process, the long, drawn out, and in some cases expensive process to become a legal citizen. They respect our country. They respect our laws. It's quite black and white, guys. You come across that border or any border of our borders illegally and don't go through the proper way to do it, you've committed a crime. It's black and white. We should never be arguing about that type of immigration. Just like we should never be allowing things to be amended into the immigration bill about biometrics. You guys are supposed to be free thinkers. You're supposed to be free people. How free are you? Ask yourself that. How much privacy do you really have? You worry about when you go to post something on Facebook that you're going to get suspended, or when you go post something on Twitter that you're going to get suspended, or Gab, or the Mind, or any other platform out there. Do you worry about that you might say something that might be picked up on your phone and can be used against you? I mean, I personally do and don't. And I'm not going to say anything like that's going to get me in trouble to begin with in front of any of those types of things. Two, I'm going to speak my mind, whether the people like it or not. Why? Because that is my constitutional right. I'm going to freely express myself, use my words, use my voice. And that's two backups. Just like I'm working up a backup. Why? Because I know a couple platforms where they can be used for the very things we talk about here and doing that we're always getting censored. But we wouldn't be on those platforms. Unfortunately, you wouldn't be getting videos. You're going to have to go back to the old school method of reading. You know, I'm giving it some serious thought about creating another magazine. That's just what this channel is about. Hook up with some other people like-minded that don't mind writing articles, posting it, and putting out another monthly magazine or bi-monthly. Because I still see the statistics from the other magazine that I created and published. The numbers are phenomenal to this day, and it was what, 2009 through 2013, I think. 500,000 views, still getting views. A lot of the magazines still getting views to this day. 5 years later, I don't have to worry about the censorship. I still have a way to get things out. And it goes back to the last thing I'm going to touch on. Yeah, the internet, technology, it's all a dangerous thing. You can weigh the pros and cons. It's a beautiful thing when it's not in the hands of the corrupt people that try to manipulate and control people. It's a tool. Learn how to use the tool. Learn how to be a bit unpredictable. Learn a little chaos. Learn to go off, do things randomly. See what happens. I know what happens. Makes you unpredictable, makes you hard to read. Allows you to blend into the system. Because they use this very tool that is a great thing to hit us with information overload, to distract us. Something's trending is usually a distraction. But they can use it over and over, change narratives, throw it in your face 24/7. And it becomes an information overload to where you don't know what to question when you should be questioning everything. It goes back to what I said. Quiet the noise. Tune it out. Don't focus on nothing that pops out. Focus on what you're drawn to and go from there. Take breaks. Don't take nothing for face value. Question. Do research. And when you do your research, don't take the views that appeal to you. Take all the views, read them, research them, and come up with your own conclusion after playing devil's advocate with both sides. Pros and cons. Play a game with it. You come up with your own view, your own opinion. As you start doing that, you'll start seeing through the crap, the disillusions, the illusions, the traps. You'll start seeing the moves and counter moves. You'll stop blaming people for different views. They want us pitted against each other. They want us at each other's throats. They want us talking bad about other channels. That's why it spreads division, spreads discord. It keeps us off subject, off the truth. When we're too busy fighting with each other and arguing with each other, they're just shoving more things down our throat that we don't see. How do we stop that? Well, one, we stop calling people out. We let them do their thing. Everybody's unique. Everybody does things differently. Everybody has their own perspective on a way to do things. Granted, I might not agree with some of the things that people do. But if I get in a battle of I disagree with you, it goes back to who's right, who's wrong. We're not going to get anywhere, and we're not going to wake people up. In fact, we're going to start losing people. Because we're going to be losing the ones that actually want to hear the things. We're going to start drawing in the people that feed off the drama, that feed off the arguing, the fighting, the negativity. And what are we creating? Ah, yes, we start creating a new problem. We start creating what? Oh, we don't create. We're doing what our masters tell us to do by arguing with each other when you should be your own master. You know, because hey, if you're coming here looking for all the answers, I don't have all the answers. Probably a fraction. That's what everybody has. Everybody has a fraction of the answers. We need to take those fractions and add them to each other's. The importance of these channels. It's the importance of the truth community, the conspiracy community, the religious community, the gaming communities, all the different variety of communities here on this platform. We all have a little bit of the answer. We need the other pieces that other people have. You know, people ask me, why do you watch that person? Why do you listen to that person? Well, that person might have a piece of that puzzle that I'm missing. Quit judging people. Quit blaming people that aren't waking up as fast as you'd like them to, that aren't so quick to stand up. Remember, there's a time and place. Right now, the time is healing, mending the division, not creating more division. Now is the time to be the caretakers, our brothers and sisters, uniting them, putting differences aside, finding common grounds and issues, also working with our communities outside the internet. Start talking to people as you're passing them. I had a great conversation while I was pumping gas today with an older guy about things, and just a random conversation. Learned some things from him, and he learned some things from me. You know, exchanged numbers. One other person that I was able to reach. And then he actually reached me on some things that I didn't think about or know. That's the importance of what we do. Whether it's here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or any of the other platforms. I mean, I'm personally not going to be jumping around every platform. Why? They're all the same. They all have a TOS. And it's the rebel in me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to let somebody force me off a platform to go to another one that's just eventually going to do the same thing later down the road. Why? Been down that road. I created websites, created platforms. I know what it's like when you move a community from one platform to another. Oh yeah, you lose half the people that you had. And when you do it again, you just lost another half. You don't get them back because people don't want to keep jumping. That's not the answer. I mean, sure, we had a platform that truly is going to defy the government, the FCC, and all of them, and do it. Guess what? They'd be shut down. That's the truth. And that's from people within the platform networks that create these platforms, that run these big networks. There's no escaping. You either do what you're told or you get shut down and ran off. Not fair, not right. But then again, most of you don't even know about it because you'll never hear about it. You know, like I said, we are living in some interesting times. It's shaky. You know, we're walking that proverbial fence every day. We're walking that tightrope. But then again, we can turn it off at the same time. We don't have to get caught up in the game. It's easy. I quit. I take my piece off the board. Find some other sucker. We know, each of us out there know how to make a difference. We know how to make change. We just got to work at it. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen this year, next year. It's going to take time. You know, we get caught up in the things. We want things to happen now, right now. The real game is, look at it, biometrics. First introduced into Congress in 93 to see if it was feasible, to study it, see if it was feasible to use a system. Oh, we know in 93 we didn't have the technology that we have now. So they say, keyword there. Okay, there's a little bit of conspiracy side of me too. But the truth is, most of the tech you see is probably 10 years old when it was introduced. Been out for way a little before it. But hey, that's also people you get to meet as you start opening up. You'll start meeting people like that who you'll get into some interesting conversations of previous jobs they've had, things they've done, where they've worked, and they'll share these things with you. An open mind is a beautiful thing when you can sit there, not judge a person, and just listen. Then reflect on it and make your own decisions. Like I said, our jobs on here is simple. Plant the seed. Tell you it like it is. Be honest with ourselves. Me being honest with myself. I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes. You know? Me being honest with myself. I'm human. Which means I have good tendencies and bad tendencies. I'm going to do something bad eventually. Might not be something major. Never is, but in somebody's eyes it's going to be bad. Does that make me a bad person? No, it makes me a human being. I make mistakes. We all do. Mistakes are usually labeled as bad. And of course then we have evil. That's just a matter of choice. You're not born evil, you make choices. You're not born bad, you just make choices. You're not good, you make choices. Every day you're making choices. And every choice has a consequence, whether good or bad. It's going to impact you and those around you. You know what? That makes you human. You're learning from those experiences. Oh, that didn't go so well. I made a bad choice there. You learn from it. You won't repeat that mistake. You know what? The next time you do it, you made a good choice. You didn't repeat that mistake. Even though it might have similar side effects because you just didn't quite figure it all the way out, but you improved upon it. Everybody has those characteristics in them. Everybody has a primal characteristic. Everybody has a loving characteristic, just like they have a hating characteristic. Everybody hates something, whether it's a piece of fruit, some type of food, or a smell. When you start learning that and accepting that, it's about choices. It's about, hey, I have these things are a part of me. You'll start to stop judging people by that. You made a wrong choice. Then you'll also start seeing those that do it and don't care. Those that choose to be vile and evil. And you see them for what they really are. choice, about being free thinkers, using your mind thinking, making your own decisions. Quit calling yourself by a label. That label is meant to control you, define you. And by doing so, you're putting shackles on yourself. That very thing you define yourself becomes a part of your mind subconsciously. When you see opposing things because that label is saying it, so you can't see outside the box. You can't see it as something that's going to drastically be bad for you. And that's just things we learn as we grow. Step outside the rabbit hole. Don't call yourself anything but what you are, your name. Don't adhere to a political label. Don't adhere to an identity. You know what you are. I'm actually going to rephrase that one. No, I'm not. There's no need to. You know what you are. You know what you're born as. You know who you are. Be yourself. Don't be something that somebody tells you you are. You start being yourself and not judging others, you'll find that a lot of people respect your choices and decisions. They might not agree with them, but they'll respect it. And they will treat you no differently than anybody else they treat. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Kind of long, but hey, it's me we're talking about. I don't think I've ever done a really short video to begin with. Once in a blue moon I do. Speaking of blue moon, yeah. 31st. But think about things. Question things. And realize you don't need to go down the rabbit hole. You're living in it. Step outside. Quiet out thought. Shut the noise out. Think for yourselves. Become free thinkers and question everything. Everything you think you know, thought you believed, question it. Start freeing yourself from the stuff that's held you back. And trust me, after a few months, you'll have a different view on things. You'll feel better. You'll even sleep better. And it's a long journey. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a few months. It's an everyday process. Everyday process that we have to do and go through every day. Because that's how much stuff we're bombarded with. Some people just learn faster than others, and some people have to go through down forks, curves, hills, mountains, where they actually see it. It's a journey. It's an adventure. And the reward is freedom, freeing yourself. It's a good reward. Something that you cannot put value on. Heck, it's no money in the world, no precious gems can value freedom. Something to think about. You guys have a wonderful week. I'm not sure when the next video is going to be. Like I said, tomorrow's going to be a long day, and I'm pretty much only going to be the one doing all the running the next few weeks. So I'll try to get some videos in here and there. But if I don't understand, I'm taken care of. family things right now. And I hope to see you guys soon. You guys have a good night.